Hey, hope everybody out there is doing all right today. Everybody's doing well. Peace and blessings. First of all, I just want to acknowledge everybody for the responses and the positive feedback I received on my first video about how water fasting saved my life. As you know from the first video, I suffered a stroke, which was due to high blood pressure. And that kind of set me on a journey into losing weight and extreme weight loss. I was able to lose 120 pounds in little over 9 months. So, really fast. And primarily, the way that I did that was through extended fasting. I kind of mentioned earlier in that first video that I watched an episode of The Amazing Race with the African Bushmen and how they were basically eating once every 5 days. I kind of took that approach, and every week I would fast for 5 days. So Monday through Friday, I was fasting. Saturday and Sunday, I was eating. Now, keep in mind on my refeeds, I know a lot of people say you need to bring in bone broth, you need to eat healthy, etc., etc. That was not the case for me, and it was probably not the best choice for me as well. On my weekend refeeds, I was indulging in whatever the hell I wanted to and just getting back to work on Monday. So, Monday through Friday, I was on the grind. On the weekend, I was eating pizza. I was eating whatever I wanted to. I was going to barbecues. I was really making up for not eating during the week. So, my weight loss probably could have been a lot more if I would have been, on a strict keto diet or maybe like a paleo diet at the time. Um, and personally, I needed to live the way I like to live because I do like to eat good foods. And sugar was never really a problem for me, but breads and pastas and chips, that sort of thing was always my issue. So basically, just cheap carbs. Um, I have since kind of graduated and I'm going carnivore now. So when I refeed now, I'm basically just looking for protein, meat only, um, which has been pretty tremendous and pretty huge. I don't put on a lot of weight in my refeeds. Now, back when I was doing the 5 day fasting, I was probably putting on 20, 25 pounds in those 2 days, but then quickly losing it, obviously, during the next week. Because basically, most of that weight was water weight. Um, I mean, it was really easy to put on 25 pounds in 2 days, especially if I had a drink or two along the way. Um, Not really much of an alcoholic, but for social gatherings, I will definitely indulge. And those are when I would really see, big increases in weight. Now, the thing is, if you do refeed like that, don't be discouraged because it's just water weight. When you have all those cheap carbs, your body holds on to the water. It basically locks it in. So you're just not you're not getting rid of that water. But as soon as you go back to fasting, you will quickly lose that weight. Um, Now, again, with the refeeds, I know there's a lot of water fasters out there say you should refeed and eat bone broth for 3 days and then go to eggs for a day, etc., etc. Um, but personally, I didn't go that route, and I was kind of thinking about like bears. When bears hibernate, they hibernate for months at a time. When a bear comes out of hibernation and he hasn't eaten for that long, the bear doesn't go looking for bone broth. The bear goes and eats the salmon. He goes and he's eating meat again right away. And I figure my digestive system, my body's got to be at least as sophisticated as a bear's. Um, Being that we are apex in this whole hierarchy that we live in here. So I didn't go probably what people would call appropriate in terms of my refeeding. And I didn't really experience any negative effects from those refeeds. Um, there are some things you definitely need to watch out for when fasting and refeeding. And I'll go over that in another time because I did have a lot of negative issues and I did actually have another stroke. So I had two strokes within 1 year. And the second stroke is still kind of a mystery to doctors on why the second stroke happened. But I've kind of narrowed it down to a few things, which I'll go over in future videos. But going back to losing this weight, the 5 days on just seemed to work for me because that's usually when I was busy and I was at work. So I was able to just get through the week, not have to worry about um, food, not have to worry about planning out a meal or anything like that. So it just really worked. Now, you don't just lose weight um, that fast without doing some type of exercise. Now, I know a lot of people say that when you're fasting, you shouldn't work out, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, etc., etc. And they're probably right to some extent. But for me, it was quite the opposite. I was walking 5 to 10 miles a day while fasted. I was doing my push ups every day. So I usually do about 150 to 200 push ups a day. As well, I was doing yoga probably about 3 to 4 times a week. And, and honestly, I didn't feel any true negative effects of that from working out while fasted. I actually enjoy working out while fasted, and I continue to work out fasted right now. I just feel lighter on my feet. I feel better. Now, usually by day 4, 5, I can definitely tell a decrease in strength when I was doing my push ups, etc. You do get tired a lot quicker. So just keep that in mind. And one of the things that I was really poor on was staying hydrated. So I would definitely recommend anybody out there who's doing extended fast, make sure you stay hydrated, especially if you are working out. But honestly, there is no bad things that can happen to you. Well, I'm not going to say that can happen to you, but if you're not careful, but if you are careful, there's no bad side effects of working out while being fasted. In fact, I think a lot of people actually prefer working out fasted. So don't be scared to go for a walk, do a little bit of light weights, etc. Just keep yourself motivated. Now, I had one person ask me, how do you stay motivated in terms of keep the fast going and not gaining the weight back when you stop fasting? I think the key to that for me has been just to basically not stop fasting. Like, um, switching over to carnivore is a little bit different because I just don't seem to be satiated. So I'm eating more days out the week, but I'm not gaining any weight. I am still fasting regularly though. And I think discipline just comes into effect. I think Jocko Willink, I pronounced his name wrong, I apologize, said something along the lines of, you're never going to be free until you have discipline. So when you have that discipline and you just make up your mind, this is a lifestyle, fasting, I'm always going to fast, then you're actually free because you don't even worry about going back to that way of life because you've already made up your mind, hey, that's not what I do anymore. I fast. That's who I am. And once you just get to that point mentally, that you just realize that there's so many other benefits besides just weight loss to fasting in terms of mental clarity, in terms of just being at peace, less anxiety, that you don't really want to go back to eating uh, every single day. Honestly, it got to the point where when I was on my refeeds, during those carb loaded refeeds, I would feel miserable for the first day. So when I would come off of that Sunday of eating junk or cake or whatever I wanted to, Monday, I didn't even want to look at food, which I always thought was, hey, that's probably a good thing. So that way it kind of gave me the jump start into my next fast. So I kind of use that as um, I guess, a stepping stone or a trampoline jumping point into my next fast. So the key is I was just rolling fast, one after the other, one after the other. It took time for me to get there. I mean, at first I was doing 1 to 2 day fast, doing what they call rolling 48s, then graduated to the 72s. But in the end, I would say towards the last 3.5, 4 months, I was only eating those 2 days out of the week, and I was doing extended 5-day water fast every single week. Um, Again, that's not for everybody. I would say you have to look at your body, know your body. And I mean, for me, I was extremely overweight. I had extreme problems. So I needed a fast and extreme way to lose weight. But once you get it into your mindset that fasting is just a part of who you are, that discipline, that core, then it becomes easy and you don't put the weight back on. Um, Kind of surprised now that I've switched to carnivore how much I'm actually eating and not gaining weight. So it's going to be interesting once I start doing more longer extended fast to see exactly what happens. Um, I'm still losing weight, but I am not fasting the 5 days anymore. Right now, I've been fasting 2 to 3 days a week. But generally, my rule is I don't eat 2 days in a row. Um, that kind of just keeps me going, keeps me on track, and keeps me losing weight. So, if you have any, I guess, needs or desires to go that route, it's definitely worth a shot. Try the rolling 48s or the 72s first, and then you can always step up and go higher. Now, if you are scared about refeeding, because I've heard of refeeding syndromes and how you eat a big plate of pasta or something after your fast, and you could possibly kill yourself. But uh, take it easy. Do what you want to do. The big thing is once you lose the weight, you have to remember that you have to eat like a new person. You can't go back to eating the way you always did. Because if you fast for 10 days and then you go back to eating junk food for the next 10 days, you basically eliminated all the good that you've done from that 10-day water fast. With that being said, I do want to start getting into some more extended water fasts. I had a guy comment on my last video that he'd done a 30-day water fast. I'm really interested in possibly going maybe a 21-day water fast and see where that leads. Um, so yeah, I think that'll be coming up soon. That's in the works. But again, um, I think fasting has benefits to everybody. So even if you can only fast for 16 hours, there's research out there that calorie restriction is better for you. Um, I think one of the reasons why I was able to bounce back from having both of these strokes was because of the fact that I water fasted. Luckily, I was water fasting. I didn't know at the time, but doing my research after my second stroke, I found out that there had been research done within the past year. Of course, it's been on rats, not on humans, that fasting after an ischemic stroke, um, the mice that were fasting after that ischemic stroke were able to regain a lot more of their motor movements back faster than mice who did not, and they were just eating what they wanted to. So there's definitely benefits to calorie restriction, and finding that research just kind of validated fasting for me. Um, and again, they say that after a stroke, the brain, that part of the brain is dead. It can't heal. But every day scientists are finding something new. And, recently they've also found that the brain has a way of rewiring itself. Um, Neuroplasticity is a real thing. So, based on research, neuroplasticity is also improved from calorie restriction and water fasting. So, water fasting has so many benefits on so many different levels. And I hope you guys would at least experiment with it. Try it. See if it's for you. When I bring up fasting to people, a lot of times people are like, "Whoa, no, that's extreme. I never do that. I can never imagine doing that." But that's because that's the way we were trained. We were trained that we needed to eat 3 meals a day. And if you look at the old food pyramid the FDA had out there, they recommend you eating more carbs than protein. And it was actually upside down. So why should we trust anything that the FDA has to say about food in this regard? Instead, they want us to eat all this processed wheat product full of sugar. And if you look around, the biggest epidemic in America right now is obesity and diabetes, if you look around, as well as heart problems, which is a direct link to obesity. So get your weight down, stop eating sugar, stop eating processed foods. Um, and if you do eat sugar and processed foods, the best way to counterbalance that is through water fasting. And that is, it's personal belief, but I have done research behind that as well. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not your doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a guy who's trying to get healthy, who's trying to get my brain back functioning perfectly after having a couple strokes. So it's definitely been beneficial in that regards for me. So I hope that helps a little bit, and I hope that answers a couple of your guys' questions out there. And till the next time, put the fork down, step away from the table, and get you some water, man. Enjoy. Take care.